Good morning and welcome back. I'm in the kitchen again and today I'm baking. And I'm baking shortbread biscuits. As if I need any more biscuits in my life, really. We all need more biscuits in our life. Once you've tried these, you'll make them again and again and again. I usually only do them at Christmas, but a few of you saw the picture on Instagram that I did when I was baking just after Christmas, between Christmas and New Year, and a few of you asked me for the recipe, so here it is. It's incredibly simple to make shortbread biscuits. People wonder why the word short is used, shortbread, short crust pastry. Quick explanation of that. So you know when you make bread and you feel bread and it's sort of doughy and stretchy, well that's the gluten in sort of long strands of gluten. With shortbread or a short crust pastry, there is a high fat content, and that means the grains of gluten or the molecules of gluten are short and crumbly, and that's exactly what shortbread should be. Crumbly, crisp and tender. I'm salivating just thinking about it. So when you hear the word short being used in baking terms, that's what it means. Basically, high in fat and crumbly in texture. So this is a really simple recipe. It's only 3 ingredients. Yeah, let's get in the kitchen and make them now. I've got the oven on, fan oven, 190 degrees centigrade. That needs to be good and hot and ready for cooking because these biscuits take around 9 minutes to cook. They're very quick. Ingredients, we've got 125 grams of butter, 180 grams of plain flour, only 55 grams of caster sugar. I've got flour for rolling out. I've got a rolling pin, wooden spoon, and my mixing bowl. I've also got a biscuit cutter, which is 2¼ inches or 58 millimeters. I'm making small, delicate biscuits, and I also like them fairly thin. I've also got my baking sheet lined with some parchment, very simply, no greasing involved. And the other thing to say about shortbread is it relies on the butter for the flavour. You don't need to add any flavourings. They shouldn't be too sweet. They should be slightly salty with the flavour of the butter as well. Let's get on with it. Now, a little tip before we start is I've softened the butter in the microwave on the lowest setting. So as you can see, it's incredibly soft. It's not melted, it's just incredibly soft now, which is ideal for the creaming method that we're going to use at the beginning of this recipe. So sugar into the mixing bowl, followed by the butter. And the creaming method means creaming together, blending together the sugar and the butter. So go in with your spoon. Just start gathering the sugar into the butter. Give it a bit of elbow grease. Until it's starting to look light and fluffy. That's fine. You might find it useful to use a plastic spatula to help bring the mixture down from the sides. I'm going to add 1/3 of the flour and work it in. This bit is the hard bit, so those of you who find it difficult to mix might want to use a mixer. I actually find it quite hard to mix. I don't have a hand blender. I've got a food mixer, but I really wanted to do this by hand. We were taught at school to do everything by hand. There were no mixers allowed. Once that batch of flour is incorporated, I want to add a bit more. It's going to get harder to work it because it's turning into a dough. Final bit of flour and the final bit of work. You might notice that I'm sort of pressing down. When you're at the stage where you think all the flour seems to be virtually incorporated, it's time to go in with your hands. Clean hands. Go in with your hands and start bringing the dough together. Just gently. Like I've said with other videos like cheese straws, don't overwork it. You're not kneading it as such, you're just making sure it's all been brought together, all the ingredients. You also don't want to start melting the butter. I'm just sort of pressing it, making sure that it's holding together. That's looking good. I think that is ready to roll. It's good. So we're ready to roll. I've got a little bit of flour on here. I've put some flour onto my rolling pin as well. Let's pop the dough out. Now I'm going to roll it, I don't know, maybe half a centimetre thick. Just be gentle to begin with. I don't go to the lengths of measuring the thickness or anything like that, but I want my biscuits to be fairly delicate. Don't worry if bits of dough crack off, it's not a problem. Okay, I'm going to start cutting out to get as many as I can from this first roll. I'm popping them onto my baking sheet. I'll show you that in a minute. I'm going to gather the dough together, just gently. Just give it a little squeeze. Redistribute the flour. Roll again. There we have it with the one that I can't fit on here. I think there's about 20. Now they probably are a little bit too close together, but they don't spread wildly. And look, I'm not entering a baking competition with them, so I'm not too worried. They're just for home consumption. And actually I might replace that one, which is a little bit knackered, with the final one that I cut out. There we are, that's fine. You know, one of them's got a crack in it, but this is home baking. It's never going to be perfection. The final thing to do is just to give them a little prick. Pretty. Let's get them in the oven. They don't take very long, about 9 minutes to cook. You don't want them brown, you want them pale and maybe slightly golden. There we are, 9 minutes later, and they're out of the oven. They're slightly golden, looking absolutely gorgeous. Oh my God, I can't wait to eat them all and put more weight on. God. So, what I'm going to do is put them onto a wire rack and let them cool. Just remember when you do this that your tray is hot. This parchment is great because it's so good for baking. Don't need to use extra fat. Totally non-stick. Some people sprinkle them with caster sugar. I don't, because I don't want extra sugar. I think they're perfect like this. So there we have it, some delicious shortcake biscuits, homemade and beautifully crumbly and short. Very easy to do, although, you know, there is a little bit of elbow grease if you don't use a mixer. But you know what? It's worth it. Oh, Paul, we've just had our lunch. Lovely, savoury, what was it?
It was
toasted sandwich done in the frying pan. I know. You don't need a toasty maker to make a toasted sandwich. Not in this house. So
I used to love our toasty maker though.
So, yeah, you didn't used to use it, Paul.
No, that's why you gave it away. Yeah.
So, we've got a lovely sweet treat for after our lunch. Lovely. Shortbread. Homemade shortbread, Paul.
They smell nice.
Oh, goodness me.
Very nice.
They're soft.
They're edible. Eatable. No, what's it? Moorish, that's what I meant.
They're almost creamy, aren't they? Oh. Oh my God.
And you did some with dark chocolate on them at Christmas, didn't you?
At Christmas I did, but
I loved them because the chocolate was really quite bitter.
You can do so many things with this. Dip them in chocolate, coat them in chocolate.
Can you ice them?
You could ice them.
Could you make a hole in the middle before you bake it and put a jelly tot in the middle and then you'd have a sort of jammy dodger?
That wouldn't work.
Why not?
Because they've got to be 2 layers.
Oh, yeah.
Dodgers. They're so easy, so quick to bake.
And they're very good.
So easy to inhale.
Because they're so light. And they're very easy to eat.
They are lovely. So,
They are lovely.
thank you for watching. Enjoy your baking and your cookery.
And will you be back for more soon? I mean, more cookery videos?
They know that. My followers know this, don't you, my darlings? Of course, I'm back on Wednesday for another instalment of cheap, tasty and filling.
And what's that with?
I'm not saying it's a secret.
I thought you'd done it as a premiere.
They can go and find out, can't they?
Oh, right. Are you going to put it in the...
People don't need to be told everything, Paul.
I think they do, yeah. But there we are.
Take care, have a lovely afternoon. See you very soon for more fun and frolics in the kitchen.
Are there more?
I'm not having any more, Paul. They're very calorific.